All right, picture this. The Golden State Warriors have been riding the wave of off-season speculation, and the name at the center of it all is Jonathan Kuminga. Every week, there seems to be a new twist, and here we are again, watching this contract saga inch closer to a make-or-break deadline. We're talking about the qualifying offer deadline on October 1st, a date that's becoming the red circle on the Warriors' front office calendar. This isn't just some casual checkpoint. It's the looming scenario that could completely change Kuminga's future with the franchise. Now here's the drama. Kuminga and his camp have been hinting that he might just take the $7.9 million qualifying offer. For anyone not familiar with how that works, it's basically a one-year deal that would make him an unrestricted free agent next summer, and it comes with a no-trade clause. Translation: he'd get full control over where he plays after next season, and the Warriors would have zero say in it. That's the nightmare for Golden State. Losing a young, athletic forward they've invested years into without getting anything back in return. On the flip side, the Warriors still have their two-year, $45 million offer sitting on the table, and neither side has budged. 10 days ago, the conversation was exactly the same as it is today. Kuminga reportedly sees that qualifying offer as more appealing than what Golden State's offering, which means someone is going to have to blink before October rolls around. And right now, there's no sign of that happening. The front office is under pressure because if Kuminga actually takes the qualifying offer, they'd lose a potential $20 million trade asset for next season, a number that could be used in deals to bring in other high-level players to help Steph Curry, Jimmy Butler, and Draymond Green chase another ring. If they don't want this to blow up in their faces, they're going to need to sweeten the pot. Give Kuminga more guaranteed money. Make it worth his while to commit beyond this season, and avoid the tension of having him back in the locker room under awkward circumstances. Because regardless of how this ends, qualifying offer or reworked deal, it's almost certain Kuminga will be in uniform when the season tips off. And the vibe in that locker room is going to matter. It's worth noting that owner Joe Lacob has made it very clear that he's high on Kuminga's potential. He sees him as an all-star caliber player and hasn't been willing to trade him for what he views as underwhelming offers. That mindset tells you that Lacob isn't interested in letting Kuminga walk for nothing, which is exactly what would happen if he played on the qualifying offer and left next summer. That's why you'd think Golden State will push hard to close the gap between their current offer and what Kuminga's camp is asking for. They're not going to hit his requested three-year, $82 million deal, but they might add more security to that two-year structure to make it work. Part of the reason this has been stuck in neutral is that Kuminga hasn't even been in the United States for much of the offseason. He's been with the Republic of the Congo for Afrobasket exhibitions, representing his home country and getting some national team reps in. But the latest roster announcement for the tournament didn't include his name, which means he's back stateside, reportedly working out in Miami and focusing on his off-season development. That puts him physically closer to where negotiations can actually move, but as of now, the standoff remains. To understand why Kuminga and the Warriors are here, you got to look back at how last season unfolded. Kuminga came into the year believing he was ready to take on a bigger role. He sees himself as a multi-time all-star in the making, someone you could build an offense around. And in December, he was proving it, putting up multiple 30-point games and showing flashes of dominance. Then January 4th hit, and a sprained ankle sidelined him for over 2 months. While he was out, the Warriors made a huge trade for Jimmy Butler at the February deadline. There had been rumblings about sending Kuminga to Phoenix in a blockbuster for Kevin Durant, but Durant reportedly shut that down, leading Golden State to pivot to Butler. When Kuminga returned, the fit was rough. Butler isn't a floor spacer, Draymond Green isn't a floor spacer, and suddenly the offense felt cramped. Defenses were loading up on Curry, knowing the other guys weren't a threat from deep. That lack of spacing, combined with Kuminga's uneven play, led to him being benched down the stretch. One moment that really stood out came late in the season against Portland. Kuminga ignored Curry on multiple possessions, a move that reportedly frustrated Steve Kerr. That frustration boiled over, and Kuminga didn't play in the regular season finale, the play-in game against Memphis, or most of the first-round series against Houston. It wasn't until Curry got hurt in Game 1 of the Western Conference semifinals against Minnesota that Kuminga was thrust back into the lineup. He put up strong individual numbers, but the Warriors went winless in those games. That up-and-down role, combined with tension between Kuminga and Kerr, has his camp thinking about life beyond the Bay Area. They've quietly explored sign-and-trade possibilities all summer, hoping to land him somewhere with a bigger role. But the market hasn't been promising. Miami, Chicago, Sacramento, and Phoenix have all shown varying degrees of interest, but none have been willing or able to put together a package Golden State finds acceptable. The Heat moved for Norman Powell. The Bulls added Isaac Okoro and a rookie in Noah Clowney. The Kings are dangling a 4-year, $90 million contract, but refusing to include young stars like Keegan Murray, and the Suns simply don't have attractive assets to offer. That's left talks dead in the water. For now, all signs point to Kuminga being on the Warriors roster to start next season. But the situation is complicated by the structure of Golden State's current offer. It's technically a 1-year, $21 million deal with a team option for a second year, not fully guaranteed. That setup also gives him a no-trade clause, unless he waives it, which he doesn't want to do. He's made it clear he doesn't want to be shipped mid-season. So, here we are in a stalemate. Kuminga's camp is using the qualifying offer as leverage. The Warriors are holding firm on their structure, and neither side wants to blink. If he actually takes the qualifying offer, Kuminga would give up $14 million this season with no guarantee of a massive payday in 2026. And when you're on a small contract, teams don't feel the same obligation to give you heavy minutes, which could hurt his market value. That's why some people in the league think Golden State might just call his bluff, betting that he won't actually go through with it. League insiders like Jake Fisher believe this could drag into September, maybe right up to the final week before October 1st. That's not much time to sort out a deal that works for both sides. For now, the two camps are locked in a staring contest, and the rest of the league is watching closely because the outcome here could ripple across the NBA. That summer, the Warriors had the 7th overall pick, and their draft board had Giddey and Kuminga sitting right there at the top. The Oklahoma City Thunder snatched Giddey one spot earlier, and that pushed Golden State into taking Kuminga. Both players were viewed as the clear 6th and 7th prospects in that class, just in different orders depending on the team. So, in a different timeline, it might be Giddey in a Warriors jersey right now, and Kuminga playing somewhere else. Fast forward to today, and the Warriors haven't lost their appreciation for the Australian guard skill set. He's a big point guard who can handle the ball, pass at a high level, finish inside, and take some playmaking pressure off Steph Curry. The issue, however, is that Giddey isn't a seamless fit either. He struggles as a shooter, he's not an elite defender, and in a Warriors system that thrives on spacing and ball movement, that lack of shooting could be a challenge. Even so, his playmaking and size make him an intriguing option. The problem is that, structurally, a swap between Giddey and Kuminga isn't easy. You've got the base year compensation issue that kicks in for sign-and-trade scenarios, Golden State's limited salary matching flexibility, and a reality that they're reluctant to include other valuable players in the deal. Chicago has been floated as a potential partner in all of this, largely because of what their cap sheet might look like next summer. If Kuminga plays out the year on a qualifying offer and becomes an unrestricted free agent, the Bulls could open up massive cap space to make a serious push for him on June 30th. That possibility alone adds pressure to Golden State, because it means that the threat of losing him for nothing isn't just theoretical. There's at least one team out there that could realistically make it happen. But when it comes to making something work right now between Golden State and Chicago, there's a major roadblock. The Warriors don't want to give up guys like Buddy Hield or Moses Moody in the process. Moody, who stepped into the starting lineup after the Butler trade and delivered a strong regular season stretch, is still viewed as a long-term contributor, even if he faltered in the postseason. And Buddy Hield, aside from having a monster Game 7 against Houston, has become a key locker room presence and a bridge between Jimmy Butler and the rest of the roster. His shooting, experience, and chemistry with Curry are not things the Warriors are eager to sacrifice. That's why Fisher flat out says it's difficult to envision Golden State and Chicago finding common ground on a sign-in trade that sends Kuminga out and brings Giddey in. As appealing as the idea might be to the Warriors in theory, the mechanics of it make it nearly impossible right now. Down the line, when contracts have shifted and the numbers align more easily, maybe there's a window for something like that. But mid-season? That's a stretch. Even if Giddey were available and affordable, you have to question whether the Warriors would truly pull the trigger. Kuminga, for all the ups and downs, is still just scratching the surface of his potential. Trading him for a player with Giddey's weaknesses could end up being the kind of move that haunts a front office if Kuminga blossoms elsewhere. And remember, Golden State is still very much in a win-now mode with Curry. Any trade they make has to keep them competitive immediately, not just in the future. Meanwhile, as all this speculation swirls, another subplot has been quietly developing. One that has nothing to do with Kuminga directly, but could still impact the Warriors' off-season plans in a big way. Veteran big man Al Horford, who has been linked to Golden State as a major free agent target, hasn't made up his mind about whether he's even going to play next season. According to Anthony Slater, Horford is comfortable taking his time, and retirement is still on the table. The Warriors are operating as if he's part of their plans, but there's no guarantee. If Horford were to retire after all this pursuit, it would be a massive blow, not just because of his on-court skills, but because it would represent another high-profile miss for a front office already under scrutiny. Imagine the optics. Kuminga holds the team's leverage hostage. Negotiations drag on for months, and then their top veteran target hangs it up instead of signing. That's the kind of sequence that has fans calling for heads to roll. For now, though, everything circles back to the standoff. The Warriors are holding firm on a structure that gives them control and keeps their financial flexibility intact, while Kuminga's side is prioritizing security, guaranteed money, and control over his future. The threat of the qualifying offer isn't just a bluff on paper. It's a real option that could force Golden State into a late summer pivot. At the same time, the possibility that Kuminga would risk passing up $14 million guaranteed dollars for the uncertainty of next summer feels hard to believe. It would be a gamble that could backfire if his role doesn't expand or if injuries derail his momentum. Golden State has a history of betting on their ability to navigate these moments. They believe in their culture, in the pull of playing with Curry, and in their track record of contending. But they also know the league is shifting. Younger players are less willing to wait their turn in championship programs, if it means sacrificing touches and minutes. And Kuminga's mindset, shaped by a belief in his all-star potential, doesn't leave much room for compromise unless the numbers line up. As September approaches, the clock is going to get louder. Every week that passes without progress increases the chance that this showdown pushes right to the October 1st wire. And while fans will be focused on the headline decision, qualifying offer or multi-year deal, the ripple effects go deeper. If the Warriors end up caving and adding more guaranteed money, it could limit their flexibility in future trades. If they call Kuminga's bluff and he actually takes the offer, they face a season with a player whose long-term commitment is gone and whose trade value is capped by the no-trade clause that comes with the deal. The irony in all of this is that Kuminga's best-case scenario might actually be in Golden State, a place where he can learn from championship-caliber veterans, play alongside one of the greatest point guards ever, and showcase his athleticism in a system that values two-way play. But timing matters, and right now, his patience has run thin. Unless the front office adjusts, they might find themselves testing just how far he's willing to take this game of chicken. Some around the league still think this ends with a compromise, a slightly reworked version of the 2-year, $45 million offer that adds enough guaranteed money to make Kuminga comfortable, while giving the Warriors the trade flexibility they want. But until ink hits paper, the standoff is real, and every conversation between now and the deadline is going to feel like a high-stakes negotiation. Before we continue, make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel so you won't miss any exclusive Dubs updates. Let's keep going. In the buzzing corridors of NBA chatter, whispers have begun to swirl with increasing intensity around the Golden State Warriors and their now former head coach Steve Kerr. Multiple sources close to the organization, though speaking strictly off the record, claim that Kerr's sudden departure was far from mutual agreement, despite the official press release describing it as an amicable parting of ways. The word dismissal is reportedly being murmured in certain front office circles, fueling the belief that this move was initiated by management after a season filled with internal tensions and underwhelming performances. While the Warriors' public relations team maintains a narrative of respect and gratitude, several insiders insist that the final weeks of the season were marked by tense conversations, disagreements over player rotations, and a growing frustration from ownership about the team's trajectory. Fans who once saw Kerr as an untouchable figure, largely due to his role in crafting one of the most successful dynasties in recent NBA history, are now grappling with a jarring reality. The man who orchestrated multiple championships might have been shown the door. Still, the lack of concrete confirmation keeps the discussion in the realm of speculation, intensifying the rumor mill's relentless churn. For many close followers of the league, the timing of this rumored dismissal raises as many questions as it attempts to answer. The Warriors' season ended without the fireworks that once defined their playoff runs, and while injuries and roster adjustments have been part of the story, there are those who point to deeper, more systemic issues. One particularly persistent claim suggests that Kerr's relationship with certain veteran players, previously thought to be unshakably strong, had quietly begun to fray. From disagreements about integrating younger talent into the rotation to conflicting philosophies on the pace and style of play, these alleged disputes reportedly reached a boiling point behind closed doors. It is worth noting that no player has publicly spoken out against Kerr, and in official interviews, the tone has remained diplomatic. Yet, some analysts speculate that the silence itself could be telling, a careful choice to avoid inflaming an already sensitive situation. In the high-stakes world of professional basketball, such fractures, even if subtle, can have far-reaching consequences. Whether this was a calculated move by management to reset the team's culture or a knee-jerk reaction to a disappointing season, the true motives remain cloaked in mystery, leaving fans to piece together a puzzle with more missing pieces than clear answers. Observers with long memories can't help but draw parallels between this unfolding saga and other high-profile coaching exits in NBA history, where the official story often masked deeper, more contentious truths. Kerr, whose reputation has been built on both tactical brilliance and an ability to manage the egos of superstar players, seemed for years to be insulated from the pressures that consume many of his peers. Yet if the rumors are accurate, it appears that even the most decorated coaches are not immune to the shifting tides of organizational priorities. Some insiders whisper about philosophical clashes between Kerr and the front office regarding the team's long-term vision. With the Warriors' championship core aging and salary cap constraints limiting flexibility, there's talk that management wanted a more aggressive approach to player development and trade negotiations, an approach Kerr may have resisted. The idea that a dynasty could subtly unravel from within is not new in professional sports, but the speed and secrecy with which this alleged decision was made has caught many off guard. For now, the only certainty is that the Warriors' bench will have a new voice next season, and that change alone will shape countless debates in the months ahead. Adding to the intrigue is the complete absence of any leaks regarding Kerr's own perspective on the matter, a silence that has only intensified the swirl of speculation. Some sources insist that Kerr had grown weary of the constant pressure to adapt the team's style to ever-changing rosters, while others suggest he was blindsided by the decision and had every intention of fulfilling the final years of his contract. In the absence of definitive statements, fans and media alike are left dissecting subtle cues. The lack of a lengthy farewell message, the terse tone of the official press release, and the conspicuous absence of certain front office figures from his departure announcement. It's not uncommon for NBA teams to present a united front, especially when parting ways with a figure as iconic as Kerr, but the almost surgical precision with which this transition has been handled feels unusual. Some even speculate that legal or contractual considerations are at play, preventing either side from speaking freely for now. Whatever the reason, the silence has created an informational vacuum, and in sports journalism, such vacuums rarely remain empty for long. They invite theories, and theories fuel the ever-hungry rumor mill. What happens next for both Kerr and the Warriors is, naturally, the subject of fevered debate. There are already whispers that multiple franchises have quietly reached out to gauge his interest, with teams in various stages of rebuilding seeing him as an ideal candidate to bring structure, credibility, and championship experience. For the Warriors, the coaching search is rumored to be wide open, with potential candidates ranging from established NBA names to innovative assistants waiting for their first shot at the top job. Some insiders suggest that Golden State might pursue a coach more willing to embrace a youth-driven rebuild, while others believe they'll double down on trying to squeeze one more title run out of their veteran core. The uncertainty surrounding both paths underscores just how pivotal this offseason could be for the franchise. Should the rumors of Kerr's dismissal prove accurate, it would mark one of the most dramatic and consequential decisions in recent NBA memory, a decision that could redefine the Warriors' identity for years to come. Until official confirmations emerge, the story remains suspended between fact and speculation, ensuring that the whispers will only grow louder in the weeks ahead. Stay updated exclusively with the latest Dub Nation news. Subscribe to our channel and hit the like button to keep getting daily updates on the Warriors. Don't forget to share your thoughts in the comments. Your input is essential for the Dubs community. Stay tuned for the next video.